Johnny, wake up!
What is up, guys? This is Mercedes, and I'm here to talk to you about Game of Thrones Season 6, Episode 5, titled The Door. Now, this is a recap review, so there will be some spoilers. So if you haven't watched the episode, go watch it and then come back later. In this episode, Sansa has a not-so-happy secret rendezvous with Littlefinger. Arya has to sit through a rude retelling of the fall of her father. Bran learns how the White Walkers came to be. Euron is able to claim the throne instead of Yara even after admitting he killed the previous king. Jorah and Dany's relationship enters its complicated territory. Tyrion and Varys meet a new red woman named Kinvara, and she seems even more condescending in her relief than Melisandre ever did. Bran does something stupid and ends up allowing the White Walkers into a safe space. Jon and company come up with a plan of action, and we finally learn how Willis became Hodor. Now, I'll admit I didn't like this episode. It's not to say that the episode was bad. It's just almost everything that happened in it annoyed me. We can start in Castle Black with Sansa and Littlefinger. Like, I understand why she went to go see him by herself. You know, she wanted to see what he had to say about his decision to have her married off to Ramsay. And when she discovered that she didn't like his reasoning, which she wouldn't have, like, no matter what, he couldn't have said anything to make her feel better about what happened. So when she ends up telling him to leave her alone, and before he leaves, he's like, "I'll just let you know your uncle has built an army and he's taken over Riverrun again, so you at least have allies there." And it's fine. But then later on, when I guess the small council of Castle Black is meeting to discuss their plans to take over Winterfell, she doesn't tell Jon how she got the information about the Tully army. And I don't know what that's about. Is it a weird pride thing? Does she actually not trust Jon as much as she's saying she does? Is this a weird childish power play to be like, "Hey, look, see, I found out something by myself, and so I'm obviously contributing to the team"? I don't know. I can't see how her not telling Jon how she found this information can be useful. And then we move on to Braavos, to the other Stark daughter, Arya. I'm kind of over this storyline. I understand that, you know, she can't just wake up magically and be a good assassin, but this whole faceless men thing needs to get somewhere. She's getting better, but she's not great, which, shocker, she's only been doing this for a couple of weeks, so she's not going to be able to beat you, who's been doing this for a while. And then we find out that apparently Waif's problem with her is the fact that she's a lady. And Jaqen explains that no faceless man has ever been royalty. They've always been peasants and farmers and beggars. And I'm like, okay, then should have just told her that from the get-go. I mean, I can understand, you know, from God knows we've seen what having a title does to people. It's everything is, "I deserve this because I'm Lord Blah," or "I'm Lady Blah and my father did this." So sure, I'm just I'm so tired of this story arc. It needs to get to the point where she's running through Braavos all ninja like, and then, you know, head back, because by this point it's obvious she's not going to become a faceless man or woman. They don't tend to change it. I guess it's plural, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, so by this point, it's obvious she's not going to be able to join them. So just let her get the skill she's going to get. Let her hop back into the water to pick up Needle and get her back on a boat to Westeros. Now we head back over the narrow sea to Pike, where the Ironborn are having their Kingsmoot. It was going well. Yara and Theon were capable of convincing everyone that Yara should be the next king of the Iron Islands. And everything's going great until their Uncle Euron pops up and is like, "Actually, I think I'll be the king because I'm actually a man. And, you know, I've sailed all across the world." And he makes a couple of jokes about the fact that Theon's had his junk cut off and how their father, you know, led the Ironborn to 2 wars that they couldn't have possibly won. And he's going to be the one to build the Iron Fleet. And everyone's all gung-ho, even after he admits to killing their previous king. And I'm like, you know, sure, your leadership has made some really bad decisions when it comes to attacking people, but maybe you're also laughed at by the rest of the world because your system of power makes no sense. And then you have the process of finding your new king. Like, okay, so yeah, the Lords of Light people, they're crazy because they're always setting people on fire. But something has to be said about the people who are like, you're my new king, so we're going to drown you. Well, at least hold you underwater until you start inhaling it. And then we're going to take you out of the water. And if you're capable of spitting the water out, you're our new king. Like, really? What happens if they just drown? Oh, obviously it was not meant to be. The god of the water didn't care. Religions in this show are interesting. And then you have Euron's other big plan, which is more than likely not going to work. He's going to take the Iron Fleet that he's going to build over to Meereen, and he's going to show it to Daenerys and be like, see, look, I've brought you a fleet. Marry me and you can have it. And I'm like, if there's anything we've learned about Daenerys when she receives an ultimatum, she's probably just going to kill him, take his fleet, and then use said fleet to get the Dothraki over to Westeros to start her fight. And then talking about Dany, I guess we'll head over to Vysa Frack, where her, Dario, and Jorah are having a discussion, and she's all like, I've banished you twice. You've come back twice, and you've saved my life. So, I guess I'll welcome you back into the fold. You know, I can't get rid of you, might as well have you by my side. That's when she discovers that he has grayscale, and he's all like, I'm just going to go and live the rest of my life, and when I feel the madness set in, I'm going to end it. And she has one of her many childish, no, I demand you moments, and it's like, I command you to find the cure, and then come back to me so that you can be by my side when I take over the Seven Kingdoms. And I'm like, sure, Dany, sure, I'm going to do something that no one's ever been able to do because you'll miss me. Fine. Whatever. And of course, you know, Jorah loves him some Dany, so he's going to go off and he's going to try his darndest to find the cure for grayscale. And then I guess from there we move on to Meereen, where the small council is meeting, and Tyrion and Varys are like, yay, we have a peace now. It's fragile, but it's there, and it's given us time to come up with our next step. And Tyrion, of course, once again has a plan, and it is to get the aid of a priestess that the people of Meereen and all of the Slaver's Bay will trust. And that's when we meet Kinvara, the newest Red Woman in the story. And she seems as cocky as Melisandre did at first, before, you know, Melisandre's plan stopped working. So yeah, so yay, we have another arrogant Melisandre around. But this one also seems a little bit more accustomed to getting people to do what they want. It's like when she's explaining to him how Daenerys is the one who's promised, and Varys was like, really? Because I know of a girl in Westeros who said that Stannis was the one who was promised, and Stannis was beaten twice in battle, and then was also killed in the second battle that he lost. So I'm not exactly putting much stock in your prophecy, which Kinvara then responds by going, everything happens for a reason, and like, look at you. The terrible thing that happened to you as a child is what led you to being this powerful person you are today. And then she says something about when the crazy guy cuts off his junk and throws it in the fire, he hears a voice in the fire. And she's like, do you want me to tell you who the voice was? Do you want me to tell you what the voice said? And his face is all like, oh my God, how does this woman know this? So, yay? I mean, I'm sure we all know there's something behind this Lord of Light business. I mean, we've seen 2 people get brought back from the dead, and we saw the demon baby that killed Renly. So, yeah, I'm not doubting the Lord of Light. It's just, I kind of wish he would have his stuff done without, like, such traumatic things. Like the fact that you can only bring someone back from the dead if you've lost your faith, and then in a last-ditch effort to have it, you was like, please bring my friend back. That makes no sense. Or you want Varys to be the king of secrets that he is, completely mutilate him as a small child so that he grows up not trusting people and becomes a spy. Like, Can we not? Can we possibly do this in a better way? I guess it's on to the last part, the most important segment of the episode. So yeah, so we head beyond the wall to Bran and Three-Eyed Raven. Bran is in a vision where he discovers that the children of the forest created the White Walkers because they needed a buffer between them and man, because people were killing them for the obsidian daggers that they make. I think it's because the daggers can be used against the dragons. I'm not completely sure. And then, bravo to them because the daggers can also kill the White Walkers. So they had a double thing for that. But then you find out that no matter how messed up the world is and how many serious things are going on, teenagers can still be stupid. It's like, how many times does the Three-Eyed Raven have to tell Bran, these visions aren't a joke, don't try to mess with anything, don't stay in the past for too long, something bad will happen. And what does Bran do? When everyone's asleep, he decides he wants to go back into a vision by himself. And lo and behold, he had no control of where he went. So all he ended up doing was meeting up with the White Walker army and allowing the Night's King to touch him, which allows the Night's King and the army to enter the cave that he has been hiding in. So yay, Bran, congratulations. You wanted to see what happens if you did it on your own, and you end up getting most of your friends killed in the process. And what is up with the writers of this show? Why are they killing every direwolf? Like, I feel like we should start a petition of, if you kill ghosts, we riot, right? Because there's only 2 left, and it's not fair. They're supposed to be these awesome symbols of power, and they just die. Like, sure, Lady died because she trusted Ned, and that's when he cut her throat. And Robb's wolf, whose name I forgot right now, it's something silly, died because it was caged away during the party, and they were able to stab it through the gate. But everyone else is like, I'm going to assume Shaggy Dog was loose and free, and then Summer just was. Summer did sacrifice himself to try to give Bran more time. Unfortunately, there were too many of them, so it didn't really solve anything. But yeah, stop killing direwolves. It's sad. Like, they're the only things I think I've cared about dying in this series. Like, in negative aspects. People have died and I was like, yay, but never like, oh, why'd you kill that? Why? It's not fair. And then, I guess also probably the saddest moment of the episode is how we learn Willis becomes Hodor. And it's because the Three-Eyed Raven decides that he has to give Bran like one last ability before they have to run. And so he goes back to the night that Bran's uncle Brandon, because the Starks are clever with their naming, is going off to the Vale, I'm guessing to meet Cat so that they can start their betrothal. And when he's there, that's when the White Walkers show up. And he hears Mera go, Bran, we need Hodor because we need to get out of here. So Bran is able to warg through modern day past Willis into modern day Hodor so that Hodor can start helping them escape. And I'm not sure if it's the fact that he held the past Willis under it for so long, or if it's the fact that modern day Hodor was starting to die, but it ends up making Willis have the seizure. And he ends up repeating the words that he hears Mera yelling, which is hold the door. And he's like repeating it, hold the door, hold the door. And as his brain gets more melty, hold the door becomes Hodor. And it's kind of like the saddest thing. It's like, oh, Bran was messing with stuff he shouldn't have been messing with, which led this poor person to lose his mind. Though plus side, that now explains how time travel works in this universe. Since Hodor was affected by Bran affecting the vision he was in, that means time's a straight line. So Ned always heard Bran call him out the day he tried to save his sister. I wonder what else was either caused or prevented because Bran was messing with the timeline through his visions. So that's at least a cool thing. But yeah, that's it for this episode. I'm just... We're halfway through officially, yay! So what do you guys think is coming up next? Do you think Brienne and Jon will meet Lady Stoneheart when it gets to River Run? How do you think the attack on King's Landing is going to go? Who do you think is going to survive it? And am I the only one who doesn't care about Sam and Gilly's storyline? I'm sure like everything in the series is important. So I'm sure something important is going to come from that. But so that's it from me. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. And also check out the Awesome News Network's Facebook page, your one-stop shop for movies, television, gaming, comics, and anime. Until next time, guys.